Good morning, Downingtown STEM Academy. My name is Abby Walter.
And my name is Chayse Nunciato. Welcome to another episode of STEM TV Quarantine Edition Season 3.
Before we start the episode, we would like to let you know that STEM TV will be taking a 2-week break before releasing our final episode of the year, the end of year show, on Monday, May 31st. If you would like to showcase a talent to the school, this is the perfect time to do so. If you are interested in submitting a segment for the end of your show, please check the description box below for the submission details.
Next up, we have STEM Happenings hosted by Aparna. Let's see who she's interviewing this time.
Hi, Downingtown STEM Academy, and welcome back to STEM Happenings. This is your host, Aparna Vagvala, and joining us today will be another one of STEM's club. Our special guest for today is going to be the STEM Players Troupe. Welcome to the show, guys. All right, so let's begin. Could you start by just quickly introducing yourselves?
Yeah, hi, thanks for having us. So I'm Mara Grigor. I'm a junior at Downtown STEM, and I've been in Players Troupe since my sophomore year.
I am Zach Fidlan. I'm also a junior, also been in since my sophomore year. Mara and I are both right now assistant directors for STEM Players Troupe, but next year we will be co-directing.
All right, nice to meet you guys. So let's get started talking a bit about your club. Could you give us a brief description about what the STEM Players Troupe is?
Yeah, so we are STEM's theater group, and we usually do 2 productions per year. We usually have a fall and a spring production. And the fall production will start, usually we'll have auditions a few weeks after school starts. We'll hold auditions, and then usually the performance will be early November. And then spring season, we'll have auditions usually in February, and then we have the performance usually like in April.
So I know things have definitely changed since we went virtual this year. So how have you guys been addressing these challenges and getting around not being on a physical stage?
So when we started off entering this kind of new weird way of producing performances was something that would be a little easier on the production side. And so we ended up doing these really cool monologue projects. I think they came out wonderfully.
Mm-hmm.
And that got put together in a video. And then we moved on to some group things, and we allowed, so we got pretty creative with that. And that was our fall production. And for the spring production, we were ready to try something a little more ambitious and doing a group production. And so we did 2 around the inability to be on a stage.
Wow, that sounds really cool. You guys have done a lot, even though we've been virtual, and definitely it's been a lot harder to coordinate things for all the clubs across the board at STEM. But I know definitely a lot of people who may not have already been a part of STEM Players Street might be interested in joining now that they know a little bit more about it. So could you tell us a little bit about how you can join your productions and what kind of people you're looking for and kind of the environment, I guess, of the STEM Players Street?
Mm-hmm. We're looking for anyone who wants to act and be on stage. I mean, if you're willing, we would love to have you. And even if you don't want to be an actor, we have a bunch of other opportunities for you. Being on tech, if you like editing videos, if you want to be, we also have art. We need all these sorts of things to make Players Troupe work. It is definitely not just acting. And usually, like in a normal year, we'll also have like stage manager and all these sorts of different jobs. We reduced on those jobs this year. It was mostly just tech and actors, obviously, as well as with directors. But yeah, typically we have almost something for everyone who wants to be part of it. And it really, what I love about STEM Playership is that you really get to know other people besides just not in your own grade, and it's a lot of fun. And if you want to get involved, you can just message. So Mr. Sutlock, he is our coordinator, our teacher coordinator, and you can message him. You can message me, or you can message Zach. And then we also always post on STEM Student Life when we have casting, like open casting. So now that this season is kind of wrapped up, the easiest would be for next year just to look on STEM student life and see when we have the next auditions coming up.
Yeah, that's really cool that you guys have roles that cater to a lot of different people. So I'm sure there's a lot of STEM students who can really get involved and find something that they love here as STEM Players Troupe.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you mentioned a little bit about what you love personally being a part of the STEM Players Troupe. So just a bit more of a personal question for the two of you. What experiences have you guys had at STEM Players Troupe that you really enjoyed? Maybe a fun rehearsal or a funny moment that you'd like to share with us?
I mean, honestly, I know it sounds a little corny, but all of them.
Wow.
I mean, it's such a fun environment, and really we can go crazy at times. The good
Yeah.
crazy, not the bad crazy. But it's just, and it's amazing, I think.
Yeah. Even just being online, I think we had a lot of fun. Like we had an end of year Zoom meeting, and at one point we were about to play some acting games, and then we ended up just talking for an hour with underclassmen, telling them about STEM. I mean, oh, you will get like a lot of friendships from Players Troupe, especially like in more normal years. You get to know people well. And it's just like Zach said, it's just such a great environment full of energy, especially when we have our performances. We usually like to go informally afterwards to the diner, just to conclude like the season and just celebrate, and it's a great time.
Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds like everyone who joins the STEM Players Troupe kind of joins another family. So thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Now, Zach, you mentioned before about a spring production. So let's talk about some of the exciting things you guys have coming on that you've been working on this year. Can you tell me a little bit about your upcoming production?
Yeah, so we did 2 one-act audio plays. And we actually just wrapped up recording for those. And basically, one of them is the story of Prometheus and the Greek gods, but with a little bit of a fun twist to it. The other one is similar to The Sopranos, but more comedic. And they're going to be overlaid with amazing art that is coming up, and they should be coming to you in the next few weeks.
Yeah, so just keep an eye out on STEM Student Life, because that's when we post all of our videos, also some of our past ones on STEM Student Life. And we are so excited because these are really funny scripts that we found, and I think everyone will enjoy it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I know I'm really excited to see it. So I hope that everyone else watching this interview will also definitely check it out because you guys have put a lot of hard work into this. So this brings us to the end of our interview. But before we go, is there anything else you want the STEM students watching this to know about the STEM Players Troupe?
So like we were talking about earlier, even if you aren't sure if you can act, but if you want to act, like that's like the first step in becoming a member of us. Or even if you're not into acting, but if this sounded appealing to you, we have so many different departments that you can help out with, especially in a normal year. We need people like setting up a stage too, and a lot of effort goes into that. So
we have pretty much a job for everyone. We have sound, set design. I mean, really, if you want to be involved with the play, there's something that'll pique your interest.
Exactly.
All right, thanks very much for sharing. That brings us to the end of the interview. Thank you so much for joining us on STEM Happenings, STEM Players Troupe.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, STEM, as always, I'll be back soon, but until then, have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Big thank you to Aparna for bringing us that interview. We can't wait to see what fun surprises you have for us for our end of year show.
Next up, we have Mitchell with STEM Sports. As always, his segment is one-stop shop for all your sports news. Let's hand it over to him now.
Hello and welcome to another episode of STEM Sports. Today I have another sneak peek into this week's episode of my podcast, which once again is the Liberty for Philly podcast on YouTube. This is my cast project, so it'll mean a lot if you guys can check it out. This week, me and Jared go over the Stanley Cup playoffs as well as the Sixers clinching the number 1 seed. So enjoy the sneak peek. And that will lead to the Jazz Suns finals for me and a Jazz Lakers for you. You already said the Lakers would probably win that
Lakers are
game.
gonna win the whole thing. Mitchell.exe has crashed. Please try again later.
All right, moving on from that, such a weird statement from Jared. We're gonna move on and say the Jazz Suns. I need to look up when these last two teams played because I think they've gone to the Suns won the last time they played.
The Suns won.
The Suns have won the entire season series so far.
I still think the Lakers are gonna beat whoever the Eastern Conference team
I
is.
have the Phoenix Suns going to the finals. That's gonna be my thing. So I
What
have
kind of world will we living in if Sarver wins a I don't even know his first name, but because he's
so you have Sixers Lakers. So
No, I
rematch of
don't.
2001.
I have Eastern Conference opponent versus Lakers. I never said who's gonna win. I'm staying out of that one.
All right, so I have Sixers Suns. I would love to see Sixers Lakers rematch.
I
That
would
was
love to see the
that was
Sixers
the
play-
highest so
No,
far this entire year.
No, I would not have the Sixers play LeBron James. Heck
No,
to no.
But have you seen the last time these two teams played? The Sixers won in overtime, and that was the most viewed
It's the
television.
regular season. Playoff LeBron is way better than regular season LeBron. I'd rather not.
That was a sneak peek from this week's episode of the Liberty for Philly podcast. Make sure to drop a subscription if you're interested, and if not, no worries. So once again, thank you guys for coming out and supporting my podcast and also supporting STEM Sports. See you guys next time.
Thank you for all the sports updates, Mitchell. Unfortunately, we've reached the end of our show today.
Before we go, we would like to remind you to join STEM TV. Even though this school year is coming to a close, don't forget that you can still join the club for next year. If you are interested in joining STEM TV, please join the Schoology group using the access code in the description below.
That's all we have for you today, Downingtown STEM Academy. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks for our end of year show.